I should put a foot in my machine.
Yes, that would help.
It would help to have a sewing foot.
Do you have keys? That's Mom.
Yeah. Hi. Hi.
Hello.
We're here. I'm going to go lock the door so we don't have a bunch of people coming in prepaid for gas. Yes, and I'm going to find our light feed. Sorry we're a couple minutes late this morning, but we are here. There we go. Okay. Okay. We are good to go. Once Jen locks out all the other people. I'm back. Okay. Okay, so we're going to make some little bags today. You can't see them. You can't see them. They're way over here. Here, it'd be more like this size here. You can show them all the different weird little sizes. Some of them have things in them. This is the one I posted a picture of last night. They're a cute little boxy bag. They have little tabby handles. There is a zipper. There is a binding, kind of. Is that what we're I
the
like
binding
the
between the zipper and the bag. The seams on the inside
I haven't zigzagged those ones yet,
are
but I will.
But we're not binding the seams on the inside.
No,
so they'll be like zigzag.
We'll
closed,
zigzag those. I just can't
Hello,
zigzag
my friends.
on this machine, so they're not zigzag yet.
Yeah. So she's using her featherweight. There's no zigzag.
No zigzag.
But you can zigzag.
I'll do it on my Bernina.
So the fun part about these bags is that you can play with the sizes.
Right.
So.
And I'll go over what I did to make the difference in the sizes. The size we're going to make today is basically like this one, but I made this one tall. We're going to make it a little squattier. So it's a little more of a box, but it's fun to play with the dimensions.
Also, if you hate flying geese, this is the exact same bag, but no little bitty cute flying geese running up the sides.
Right?
But I love the bitty cute flying geese. But this is still very much a pieced bag. You can make these not pieced too, so lots of options with what we're going to do today.
Watch your inbox. If you haven't signed up for our newsletter, you have like 3 hours. Okay?
So
this is our free pattern in our newsletter today.
The sign up for our newsletter, I get this question every single time. I mention our newsletter is if you go to jkquilts.com, scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a couple little boxes. You put your name and email address in. It won't accept a non-name. Like, you can't just put one letter and then an email address or something like that. So you need to put your name in and an email address, submit, and you'll get on our newsletter list. If your newsletter tends to go to spam,
can't find it, to your email address,
Jennifer
your contact list.
at jkquilts.com to your contact list, and then it will go to your inbox because she will be a known contact.
Right.
So if you're having trouble, make sure she's
in
your address
contact
book
list. You should show
and that
up.
you are signed up. So,
but this free pattern is going out today
in our newsletter, so
you can have this pattern today.
Later today.
But let me show you the basics of what we're gonna do, and we're gonna get started.
We got pieces.
I do want my 1/4-inch foot because we're making flying geese first.
So you need this is the lining. The big piece you're gonna get. You're gonna see this when you get your pattern. Is the lining. This is what scraps of batting are made for.
Right.
This doesn't have scraps of batting sitting around.
These are my leftovers.
So, and we like batting. You can use whatever kind of foam.
I have used soft and stable.
You can use soft and stable.
I have used wool padding. I have used.
You could even just use a heavy interfacing if you don't want batting. You just kind of want something to give it some shape and structure. If you have no form of interfacing, it's gonna just go.
It's gonna be flat. But yeah, interfacing, a fusible interfacing would be fine. Even to sew in. I'm using, this is leftover 80/20 batting. It's very lightweight.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna use. So batting, lining. But first we're gonna make our itty bitty flying geese.
Itty bitty.
If you struggle with flying geese, we did a video about that.
Right.
A week, 2 weeks.
Something like that.
A few weeks ago.
Somewhere in the video.
It was after we reopened, so it's
after we reopened. So I'm gonna get all these other pieces out of the way that we're gonna use later. And these are flying geese. I'm using a 3/4 inch square.
And we're gonna do the 4-time no waste method.
1 7/8 inch secondaries. And I don't have my guide on here, so I'm gonna have you draw lines for me.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna grab a pen then.
Right. White on white, guys. I always have to look extra hard to see which is the right one.
Yep. So we're gonna go ahead and, like I said, we're using the no waste method where we make 4 at a time. We have that cheat sheet on our website under tips and tricks.
Right. Under resources, tips and tricks.
If you're ever looking to figure out how to convert you. Yeah, see, Bonnie, she's on top of things. Yeah, so if you're ever looking to convert a regular flying geese to this method, just look at that. That'll tell you how to do it.
Right.
Because this is way faster than flipping a whole bunch of corners and whatnot.
Plus, there's no waste.
Yeah. Sorry, I need to cut your, like, weird thread right there.
I know, the tail. It's really irritating, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, I was on Facebook the other day and this lady had this stack of all of her beautiful blocks all pieced and ready. And they all had tails of threads like this long. And you could tell that it's all quilters because everybody's comment was about her threads and not her stacks of blocks. Which I kind of felt bad for her, but I was like, why do you have all this threads?
Trim your dang threads.
Anyway, I kind of felt bad for it, but I had to admit that, like, that was my first thought when I saw the stack. Was like,
you're like, I want to be encouraging, but this is my encouragement.
But why? Anyway, apparently she sews them all into her quilt, which we see that too. We quilt those. Yeah, I don't love it, but to each his own.
Right. Just don't expect me, if I'm your long armor, to
trim
work really hard to hide them. If they come up through, they come up through.
Yeah. But anyway, it was.
I just think, look how expensive all that thread is.
This is true.
That's what happens when you like the nice thread. You know.
You start thinking, how can I make this last longer?
Right. That's how that works. Oh, here you go.
So I can draw lines for you.
I appreciate that.
So yeah, we're going to do this start to finish. You'll notice we didn't cut it.
I cut it this morning. So guys, this whole bag is coming out of scraps. These are leftovers from the rainbow quilt.
Yeah, from Over the Rainbow quilt. This is leftovers
Chelsea.
from the Flags Waving quilt. This is leftovers from the Cutie Cute bag she made the other day.
It's so cute, guys. Okay, I had 2 cancellations. So, if you want to make this, I have a class tomorrow at 10. If you're going to do it, there is homework. So sign up, like, today, okay? And you can still get done and be ready for class tomorrow. But I do have class space tomorrow.
Yep. So, and this is, did this one Stacy make?
No, that is one I just made out of Shine On.
I was like, these are Bonnie and Camille, but I don't know. Okay, Jen, like, won the giveaway of all giveaways the other day. Bonnie and Camille, who you know we're all big fans of, they have a new line coming out later this year.
October.
It's a rainbow line. It's called Shine On. And it is so fun. And they were doing a giveaway of some of their, like, scraps that came off of it. And Jen happened to be one of the people that won it. Guys, it was this massive stack of fabric.
I mean, some of them are 1-inch strips, but
it was
some are like 10-inch strips.
Anyway, and a whole set of patterns.
Yeah, I got all of their new patterns.
I was looking at this thinking, this is Bonnie and Camille,
but I don't know them. Yeah.
I mean, I could tell it was them, especially the tabbies.
Yeah, open the lining one. That's a pink.
And I have to admit, I was so super crazy jealous when she won that because I am such a huge Bonnie and Camille fan. Look at that. Okay, guys, it's going to be in our shop in October because we have to order it because we will.
Right. I mean, we haven't yet because our rep hasn't shown up yet.
So where do you get an iron like the one we're using? We, you can search...
We sell them here
eBay
in the shop.
Or whatnot, but we do sell them. It's a Durabuilt vintage travel iron.
There are 3 different models.
They fold.
Well, there are more than 3 models. We carry 3 different models because we like the ones that have the temperature regulator on them. A lot of them don't. They just have a thermostat, which is annoying because the only way to cool it down is to unplug it.
Yeah, our modern mentalities are not made for those kind of irons.
No.
So, if you are interested in one, you can, like I said, we have them in the shop. My mom sources them and finds them and cleans them up and gets them ready for us to sell. Or You can always search eBay or whatever. They're a vintage Durabuilt folding travel iron. But like I said, you want to look for the one with the temperature gauge, not just
It needs to have some kind of
They'll all have a little thing in the middle. Some of them are thermostats, some of them are a dial. You want the one that's actually a dial.
Yep.
Because otherwise, they're a pain. But they are fantastic hot irons, and the handle folds down, so it's made to travel. Jen's fits right in her little...
I don't want this, I want that.
In her handy-dandy little featherweight case.
Yeah, it goes in my bag, so it travels with my sewing machine.
And mine sits right next to my my sewing table at home. And so they're nice because they're kind of like our, you know, more modern travel irons. But
they fold, they're small.
But they're bigger, so it's not just that itty-bitty head that a lot of the modern ones are.
Mm-hmm.
And so we really like them. Yep. Oh, look, it's a 2 by 1.5 inch.
Weird. That's what size they're supposed to be.
Good. That's what
Alright, so we're making a whole bunch of itty-bitty flying geese. They're going to be 2 by 1.5 inch gooses. Geeses.
Ganders.
Ganders.
I don't know.
A gander of geese. I don't know what we're talking about.
Anyway, there are a lot of good little, more modern travel irons on the market, but we do like this one.
I mean, but there are a lot of good modern sewing machines on the market, but
and
we sell vintage.
Still use a featherweight, so.
Right.
But no, you can't leave it flat like an old. Like
yeah. If I leave it down like this, I will scorch the mat.
Burn a hole in my
that won't
table.
be fun for anybody. Then I have to I gotta smell like burnt wool. That doesn't smell good. Even with my rosy scented Best Press, it doesn't smell good. Actually, that would be worse.
Yeah, don't add scent to burnt wool.
It's like, you know, spraying air freshener to cover up like burnt plastic or something. It's like, let's take a nauseating smell and make it worse. Alright, guys, I'm gonna have a tail, but that's because I need her to square all these up. Plus, I want to lay it all out.
I'm on it. And if you want tips about squaring
flying geese,
then we have a whole video about it.
Right.
So I am skipping a little bit of that part right now, but that's because we discussed it a couple weeks ago.
But the thing is, especially with tiny ones like this, you can see she's not trimming off a lot.
But I'm going to make them line up straight.
To trim. Especially because these flying geese are all going to go in a row. So
if nothing else, the tails need to come off.
Right. Just to clean it up.
But I'm trimming it to make sure, because as happens, the little triangles get a little out there, and then it's hard to know what your straight line is and things like that.
So what we're going to do to set it up, I'm going to show you this real quick so I can get rid of my 1/4 inch foot and put on my walking foot. We're going to set up our center line. Is this visible?
Yeah, I think so.
Like this. So I have this little block. It's a 1.5 by 2.5, so it's the same size as the flying geese. It's this little guy on the bottom. It's just because I didn't want to make another one, plus because I wanted the flying geese to come up and over.
Yeah, it
just made sense. Block. It's just a base block. So I'm going to have 4 up, 4 down, and I'm going to start sewing those columns, that column together, because that's going to be our center column for making the bag.
And then we'll build out from there.
Right.
And she's going to start while I continue to trim her.
Right. Well, I mean, I might as well just not stand here, you know?
Geeses.
Trim my geese.
Is it 4 each way?
Yep, 4 each way.
Okay.
So I'm going to do, 2 sets of 2.
Yep.
Then, or 4 sets of 2, 2 sets of 4.
Count down. That's kind of what we do.
It is. I was doing it yesterday when I was finishing my Constance quilt. I was like, okay, the quilt is now in 5 pieces. The quilt is now in 4 pieces.
Like a SpaceX flight.
Right.
Anyway. But in that sense, you make your 4 pairs and then your 2 sets of 4, and then you arrange them going the right direction.
Right. I know. Like, there's really no need to totally lay it out ahead of time.
We're showing you how we're doing it.
But
anyway. There we go. Pieces are square.
Yay!
I need to bring my trash bowl back.
I need to just keep a trash bowl here.
I know. Seriously, one of my favorite
You know what?
things.
I need one in my featherweight bag.
There we go.
That's what I need. I need a portable trash bowl.
Oh, who was it?
That's not
Marilyn was
porcelain.
teaching our class the other day. She has those cute little tiny colanders for
Oh,
her scrap bowls.
yeah.
It was so cute. Because if you're gonna have a scrap like trash bowl, it should be adorable. Mine is at home, so I can't.
I just need one that's not like breakable, you know, because the one at home is like a
mine's
ceramic dish.
So.
But I need one that's
Not ceramic.
a 1/4 inch seam is not at my best today. I got a blunted nose here.
Oh, look, my phone says I'm supposed to come to work.
Oh, good thing you came to work, huh?
Mm-hmm. It's helpful.
My phone always tells me it's time to go to work when I'm already here.
Yeah, I love that little bee print.
Isn't
the
it
little
cute?
white on white
They have it on
rainbows.
several. The
Guys,
bee
the
prints
white
on
on
several-
white on this is rainbows.
But there's also rainbows on
A
white.
rainbow, yes. You guys, I'm
such a
so
cute
excited
fabric line.
for this line.
And the patterns for it are adorable.
Like it's like any designer. There's lines I like better than others, but this makes me feel, like go back to marmalade and.
But I like it better than marmalade.
Seriously, it's like marmalade but better.
It's like they took all the good stuff from several previous lines and put it all together.
I know, I'm super excited. It's not till October. Right now, I'm excited for. Well, actually, we got some fun new things.
We did get fun new things.
So I'm gonna grab something.
This is gonna grab stuff. We got all kinds of fun new things.
Okay,
lately,
first
guys.
off, you guys, we did this last week, right? We made the block. Jen turned it into a pillow. I'm pretty sure she stuffed a used kids' regular bed pillow in here.
A lot of people have asked the question of what size pillow did I put in here.
A flat bed
pillow. A smashed one from a bed that's old. It's really fancy.
So because it's a weird size, it's a 13 by 20. It's kind of hard to buy. I don't know if they make pillow forms that size, but
you probably have a pillow
one
at
of your
home
flat
that
pillows
needs
at
to
home
get replaced.
We'll fill this out quite nicely. Anyway, if you're wondering what's on the back, she put this red cross stitch. Or how to turn a block into a pillow. We did a video on that.
We did do a video on that.
So you can reference that. But I was going to point this out to you because we have cut kits now 3 times in the last 4 days.
3 days.
And this is going to be our last time.
Right.
So, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Right. There's like 12 and that's it.
So they're $20.
Because we've made a lot and we have other kits to cut.
We have a lot of other kits to get cut.
Because Christmas and Halloween are like here.
Yeah, Christmas figs, like the first half of it arrived. And then, I'm going to show you the other one.
But yeah, stuff we're getting buried in stuff. And we got other fun kits to make for you guys. Oh, you know what else is new? Library.
I know, I'm coming to show them.
She's coming. Guys, I love Elizabeth Hartman designs.
You guys know we love Liz Hartman.
Liz Hartman.
Partially because it's all standard piecing.
Right, she doesn't do any eights.
There's no
applique seams. There's nothing tricky about these at all.
It's just a matter of keeping your pieces where they go.
Stay organized and have an accurate seam.
So, Library is Elizabeth Hartman's newest line, and this is Pretty Birds. We'll be cutting kits for that today. The kits for that aren't ready yet, but we do have the koala kits, and you guys, this one uses
Essexes,
all these
Manchesters
and Konas. And they are so pretty. The texture to them is just
Now I'm switching to a walking foot.
Gorgeous.
You don't have to use a walking foot, but it does make life easier.
The other kit is the casserole kit. This uses a Kona layer, 3-layer cakes is what's included in this kit. But it's super duper pretty. And it's an 86-inch square quilt. So she makes nice big quilts. I kind of love it.
Right.
But we've got the new fabric and some of the new Manchesters, and we're going to work on cutting those kits too, which is super exciting because I've been waiting for this one because, well, I love this Hartman stuff.
Well, and they were closed. They had to, like, shut down over at Kaufman there. And so everything's been so delayed. All right, we're going to do this. Now, this is going to be a quilt-as-you-go bag, okay? Yeah. So we're not quilting later or anything. We're quilting now.
So you'll notice, okay, right side out.
Right, this is the back of my quilt.
Batting on the back, on the back side of the fabric.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to take my center strip here, and I'm going to, you know, put it on the center. I'm going to stretch it a tiny bit, just because it wants to pull in.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just put a couple of pins in. These aren't going to get run over or anything. It's just going to hold it together. Alright, so these are my little skinny strips on the side. So I'm just going to lay it right over the top right here. And I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam right down.
Guys, if they overlap a little one direction or the other, totally fine.
We're trimming this sucker
up. It can
up.
get trimmed. So don't feel like you need to ease it in or anything like that.
Right. Well, I mean, and this has a lot of seams. Like I said, my 1/4 inch seam is not at my best today. I am going to put a couple pins in to hold it in place. I mean, I'm using a walking foot, so I'm not that worried. If you're not using a walking foot, use a lot more pins. Another thing, your walking foot is most likely not a 1/4 inch foot.
Yes.
We ran into that a lot the other day at my Cutie Cube class. I can use a slightly longer stitch length here.
Yeah, you can also increase your stitch length when you're doing quilts as you go. So what you need to do is find where the 1/4 inch is on your walking foot. Like, no joke, mine's marked with a Sharpie.
Right. Totally works.
Okay? Because I need to know where my 1/4 inch line is. Hey, Donna.
Right. A lot of times we're just sewing a straight line with the walking foot, and so it doesn't matter that it's not a 1/4 inch.
Yeah, because you're quilting on top of something or something like that.
But for this, because I'm sewing on the sides of my flying geese, I don't want to totally blunt my goose's wings. Yeah. And
so my walking foot on my Bernina, there is a marking on it that is at a 1/4 inch. It's not marked anywhere. It doesn't tell you that it's a 1/4 inch, but when I take my ruler to it, I can see that the inside of this part of the foot is right at the 1/4 inch mark. And because I know that, then I can use it that way. The one on my featherweight doesn't have anything like that, so no joke, it has a little line on it with a Sharpie.
Right.
So that I know where my 1/4 inch is.
And that works.
So do what you need to do, but it really does help to know where your 1/4 inch mark is.
I mean, and it's not usually necessary for a lot of things, but when it comes to quilt as you go, if the 1/4 inch seam allowance matters, where in this case it kind of does, then you need to know where that 1/4 inch is. Get Liz pinning.
Sorry, I'm trying to stretch it.
Right.
Just a little.
Stretch my flying geese. I mean, the flying geese, there are a lot of seams close together, so you can kind of pull.
Well, I can see where it's kind of in a little on one side, so we're going to just pull a little to try and keep it square.
Yep.
That is a blunt pin.
Yeah. Well, don't put it back. Throw it away.
Well, I put it back, sorry.
Guys, I do it all the time, and I'm training myself not to. That when I pull out a pin that's blunt or dull or bent,
to not keep it.
Right. Training myself to stop. Well, because you know that pin I'm going to grab every time because it's right at the edge of the pin.
There's a super bent one in my pin bowl next to my sewing machine, and I keep putting it back, and I keep being irritated with myself for putting it back.
Yeah, I've got a little sharps container that sits that I've stopped putting away.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So instead of it being in a bowl, you know, in a drawer in my sewing room, my sharps container stays out.
If you're not sure of how to safely dispose of pins or needles, an empty prescription bottle is really the best sharps container you can get. Tammy made us some at our last retreat, and it seriously sits on my sewing table, and every time I need to replace a needle or get rid of a pin, I just open it up and put it in there.
You don't need anything fancy, just...
We have one at the long arm. It is chock full of long arm needles.
Because we use a lot of
Because we go through them a lot, and so... But it is a good way to safely dispose of pins and needles.
Alright, so the next ones we're going to put on, these are going to be our outside edges. So it's going to be the same thing. I keep breaking my thread again.
Right sides together, we're going to pin it down.
Pin it down.
Oh, that's a thread. I thought it was a hair. Oh, wait. You never know with you and me. It's very likely
true.
a hair.
We have hair everywhere. You guys, it's been a morning. Like, I didn't even brush my hair. Isn't that awesome? We go live, and I'm like, didn't even get my hair done. Not even brushed. It's great.
Okay, but this is how Liz is.
Right, we're going to do both at the same time to save time.
Because the seams aren't going to overlap. and we can press them out at the same time. So we might as well pin them and pull one and just do it back to back.
These strips right here, they're binding, so I'm just gonna fold them in half. Well,
I'm ready.
Well, you sew it.
You sew it. I don't know where your 1/4 inch is.
Oh, that's true. Fine.
Anyway, I'll make her do it. So this is the binding, guys. The binding right here with the zipper.
I like to put binding around the zipper. You don't have to. You can see.
Actually, you can see it way better on this one. This is the binding around the zipper.
But like this one doesn't have any.
This one here, I'm gonna show you close up. With let's use that one because it's the same style bag. Okay, so we have this one with the binding. This one doesn't. It's still cute either way. You'll notice that her piece at the base is a little bit bigger on this one to account for that. But the binding just has a slightly more finished look to it.
And if you open it up and look inside where the zipper is,
see, so it's
more finished inside.
There's the inside of this one. This one has things in it. But yeah, see this one? How you can see the batting coming through. So yeah, it's just, it finishes it off a little bit. So it is an extra step, but
it's a skippable step, but I like it. So I put, and it's my pattern. I can do what I want when I write my pattern, right?
Yes, you can.
That's the perk of writing your own pattern.
Anyway, so that's what those are. You don't have to, it is a skippable step if you don't want to do it, but I think it's worth doing. Personal opinion on that subject.
Right?
Okay, we're going to talk zippers for a second while she presses that. This is just
it's a basic 14-inch
zipper. Clearly, we don't need 14 inches.
Nope.
6-inch zippers are kind of hard to find. So
well, but they're also hard to work with. You'll see why it's nice.
It's nice to have the extra length.
Something longer in a second.
Guys, we are going to sew this zipper all the way in. And so this end and this end are going to get sewn off and cut off.
Right.
Which is great. Make
sure
this happens all the time, you guys. Make
all
sure
the time
you don't lose this part. Okay? You can't have it all the way down and put your zipper in and then
trim it off.
Trim it off because you can't put it back in
well,
once it's
not once it's sewn.
Not once it's sewn in. So
I mean, it's not a step you can't come back from.
You can. It's no fun.
You're gonna spend an hour fixing it.
When you're sewing in your zipper, you're gonna leave it kind of half open. Yeah, which makes it
for later. For right now, we're gonna leave it closed.
But just so you know,
right.
This is the thing to remember. People who have worked with zippers over and over and over again still will cut off.
You guys, I did when I made this bag in class the other day. I didn't cut off the head. I was in such a hurry to get my zippers out of the way that I went off the back. Anyway, unzipped all the way off because I had cut my stopper off. So you want to trim that to 9.5 by 7.5. Guys, here's a fun way if you're not sure and there was some shrinkage or whatever. I'm going to use this line right here and measure it 2 1/4 and trim from there.
It's going to be like when I square up a quilt. So, which I almost feel like we should do a video on.
We probably should sometime.
Because I've had a lot of people that are like, okay, so how do you do that? So maybe we'll do a mini one of these days on squaring up a quilt. You have Constance over there. Maybe we'll post it after we do this.
Right.
Because I'm going to do this the way I square up a quilt. So we'll talk about that.
Right.
Anyway. But I do that by measuring the outer border and then keeping that consistent all the way down.
Right.
That's how I square up a quilt. Mm-hmm. Because the idea isn't just to trim off the extra, it's to have it make
square.
It square.
It's weird. So this one guys, I'm going to show you. Because I'm going to add a binding here,
I want to make sure.
I might make sure I have at least 1/4 inch there. Maybe a little bit more.
I want to make sure I'm not going to blunt my point.
Because I don't want blunted geese.
So the thing I'm measuring on this side is to make sure I have at least a full 1/4 inch.
Yeah, if not a tiny bit more.
And, you guys, because I made these lines perfectly straight and square, I want it square. So I'm up a 1/4 inch here, and I want to make sure I'm straight on a line across the bottom and straight on a line across the top.
Yep.
Because that's how we do square.
And it is going to matter that you're piece is squared, or rectangular, rather.
In a bag.
Because otherwise you're going to have a wonky bag.
So you'll see, like, there's a little bit of batting showing right there. Not a problem. No big deal, because it's going to go into a binding and a seam.
Okay. So while she finishes squaring that up, I'm going to show you one of the next steps. Once we start sewing this bag together, it goes fast.
But my generous 1/4 of an inch, by the way, is like...
Not 3/8.
No. It's like barely past a 1/4. I make sure I'm a 1/4 plus a 3 bit.
So with these little bags, I think it's important for them to have a little bit of a tab, so you have something to hold on to while you pull the zipper open, you know, something to pull against.
And they're so cute.
And they're so cute. Plus, like, they're tabs. You could put like a carabiner in there. You could
put on your keychain.
So what I do is I take the square, it's 2.5 by 3 inches, and I'm gonna fold it in half, hot dog style.
Back to elementary school.
Actually, this is hamburger style. I lied. Hamburger style. That way.
Wait, these zippers are all of $1.19.
Right.
So it's not an expensive zipper.
Now, really quick before we do the next thing, I'm gonna have Liz do this while I do this. I would go ahead and do a simple stitch all the way around the outside.
Make it long.
I'm gonna make it nice and long,
just to hold things.
Because what I don't want to have happen is this corner to get tucked up in here.
Because you could fold it in accidentally or something.
And then once you finished your bag, I see batting instead of fabric. So because we did quilt as you go, I'm going to go ahead and do a basting stitch. If you were to make this whole top and then quilt it all down, probably not as necessary.
Well, then you're basting it that way.
Right. Anyway, so I folded in half one way, and then I'm throwing my lid, and then I'm going to fold the other 2 ends into that fold. Now, part of the reason I'm doing this early, and Liz will laugh at me, but she would do the same thing, is because I'm going to sew down each of these 2 sides to lock them in, but that means they can also be leaders and enders for while I bind and put my zipper on.
Yeah, I would totally do that.
Because I'm a dork, and that makes me happy to have some leaders and enders ready to go. Especially useful leaders and enders.
I know. Leaders and enders are actually part of the project.
Right?
Seriously, you guys, I am piecing these goofy corn blocks for a quilt for my husband. And, yeah, I'm working on 2 segments at a time, all the time, because I can't handle my machine not working.
Right? Just sitting there with nothing on it and thread tails sticking out. So now I have my little poles.
It does take more brain power.
And we'll flip it over and then it becomes a tab. But I'm going to go ahead and do it like an 1/8 inch seam down each side just to lock it into place.
Your brain gets bored if you don't do stuff like that.
Yeah. Straight up, our brains get bored if we don't do stuff like that.
And it's probably true for us.
It probably is. We're weird. We're weird people, guys.
You guys, we damn that we overthink things.
Right. Like this is not actually news to us.
We get it.
We know we have problems. Okay.
It's not problems. It's what makes us terribly efficient.
It is what makes us terribly efficient.
Terrible.
All right, guys. Now for this,
Somebody's phone.
it's mine. It's my mom keeps texting. I'm gonna go ahead and lay my binding piece right here.
You'll notice the binding's bigger.
It's because I just wanted it bigger to be sure. I'm just gonna sew it on like you would binding from the front. This is from the back to the front when she machine does binding. I'm doing it from the front to the back, and you'll see why.
Well, like if you were gonna hand finish the binding.
Right.
Front to the back.
Front to back. And I'm still gonna use a 1/4 inch seam because I don't want to blunt my geese.
Yes. No blunting geese.
If you don't care about blunting geese, then that's
Up to you. Do it however you want.
Probably more power to you. Because
you're less of a control freak than I am.
You're less of a control freak than I am. And that might be a good thing.
Good for you.
Probably makes you healthier.
Okay, so she's going to sew up the side of her tabbies.
Right.
Because we're going to end up sewing up both sides of it. So.
Right. So I have it on like this with the tail.
Ooh, hello from Norway.
Wow, we haven't had Norway
I
before.
don't think we've had one. Not that I know
Okay,
of.
so I'm going to
And hello from Florida and Idaho.
I'm going to go ahead and finish
and
this.
everywhere else. You guys all are.
By machine. Okay, so I'm just going to fold it over.
So what this does is
There's plenty of a flange, but I need to hold it down, and I'm going to stitch in the ditch. Now, if you don't know what that means, because I had this question come up the other day,
Stitch where?
What I'm going to do is stitch right there. I don't want it to be on the binding. And if I tuck it right in there very carefully,
it'll catch the back if she's stitching right in this groove right here.
It's not going to be perfect because I'm not perfect. Now, worst case scenario, you stitch on the binding. And guess what? It's not a big deal if you stitch on the binding because we're about to stitch on the binding a lot.
Yes, because we're going to top stitch the binding down and everything to attach the zipper.
Right.
So if you end up on the binding,
life goes on. Don't worry about it.
But the idea is to go right in the ditch right there. I don't know.
It's really irritating.
Do you have a burr somewhere?
Probably
There's a hole there?
What?
On the featherweight. I always like needle mine straight through. I didn't know you could just pull it up.
There's a hole there.
Yes, there is.
I'm teaching Liz how to use her featherweight.
I've had a featherweight for how long? And I use it. That's embarrassing. I shouldn't have said that live on camera and admitted that I didn't know that. Aren't those cute?
That's why I ordered them.
Sarita ordered a whole set of candy stripe diagonal fabrics because I believe in stripy bindings, and I believe stripy bindings on the diagonal
I needed
are
one
the
bolt
best.
from Andover, and I saw these on there, and I was like, okay.
Right.
Can't go wrong.
So next time you need a diagonal thin stripe,
we've got like 6 new colors.
Right?
And they're all like bright, like kid happy colors.
Right?
Which is awesome. Wait, what? Okay, so Bonnie, what I'm talking about with the hole is, you know how there's the thread guide along the faceplate that your thread goes down through? Did you know you could just put your thread behind it and pull it in? I did not know this. Okay? I have been like, she's threading it through the hole from the top all along.
And I laugh at her.
I'm apparently an idiot. I don't know. But
it's okay. We still like you.
Things I did not know that now I know.
I'm glad I have someone to teach her.
Although it was the same way on the Anova at the beginning with those other ones. I was like, where's the thing to get this? It's cute. Sarita's showing me new fabric from over there, so I'm distracted because I'm ADD in the first place and easily distracted. And she's
plus there's new fabric
helping that situation. And the shop phone is ringing.
Yep,
because we're professional about this whole video, seriously.
Well, I didn't think to mute the phone.
Well, good morning, Sally.
Hello, Sally.
See, Bonnie didn't know either.
Oh. Good.
Thank
now
you.
You know, Bonnie.
I'm
glad we're helpful.
in good company of good people. That
how to thread your featherweight video.
Apparently. There are how to thread your
right. I'm not making that video because
Carmen's already done that.
It's been done. I'm
anyway, okay, so she's got her binding on front and back.
Okay, now we're gonna do a zipper. I love leaders.
Okay, Mom says lots of people have that problem.
Oh, really?
I assume that's Mom because you're not commenting and I'm not commenting and it's under our name.
Oh, it's under JK Quilts?
So
that would be Mom.
So, yeah. Okay. I'm not the only one who did not know that.
Alright, so now we're going to add a zipper. So what we're going to do,
ta-da!
We're going to take this guy, and this is why it's nice to have it bigger. My mat's pink. That's annoying.
We didn't plan. We should have gotten
I'm going to lay this right on top like this, okay? Now, I am letting this binding go right up to the edge of the zipper. I don't need a ton of room, okay?
Yeah.
The zipper will still work with this all the way up to it.
This is a very skinny zipper pull. If it was a big, bulky zipper pull, it would be different.
But I don't want a lot of space. Now I'm going to go ahead.
The way.
Yeah, I'm pushing her out. And put a few pins here. Well, I'd have her do it, but she told me she doesn't know how to do this. So I'm just going to put a few pins right in here like this. This is where it's really, really nice to, Liz is reorganizing the store because I pushed her out of the way, to have some extra here, because now this is out of the way and this is out of the way, but I can still work my whole pouch.
Once you start assembling the bag, though, that pull's got to come inside the middle.
Yeah, but not until I'm like done with the zipper.
But it's nice to have it out of the way while she's sewing the zipper on, because it's really fun to put a zipper on when the pull's in the middle.
Right.
We do have to do that with some of our bags, and it's just a fun little maneuvering game.
Right, it's a little extra step. So I'm going to go ahead and sew a narrow seam right here. So it's probably under 1/8 of an inch.
Yes, just very close to the... Here, I'll show you. Okay. So we're going to get very close to there. So that's bigger. Yeah, not quite 1/8. So it's just short of an eighth. And then we're going to do it on this side too.
Yeah,
but you can see,
and then once I get to the end here, I'm just going to flip around and go back.
And do it again. So you can see on the inside what that does with the zipper. That's our binding on the inside that we sewed down. And it just ends up holding the whole flange of the zipper down nicely. And that double top stitch is going to give us a good shape
and this
on our bag too.
Seam seems superfluous, but it keeps that really flange down. Plus, it looks nice. It's balanced. I've got a narrow seam on the top, and then I do a narrow seam on the bottom.
And then the binding is nice and puffy and cute.
Right.
Because that's a priority.
It is a priority to have the binding nice and puffy and cute. If you're Liz.
What are you talking about? You
I totally.
And she's also still using her tabs as leaders.
This is my last one. It's sad.
Okay. So now we have a narrow stitch on both sides of the tab. This is just going to get folded in half and sewed into the box. Sewn.
Right. Okay.
But that's all there is to making it.
Now this is the trickier part because I don't. If I were doing it without binding, I'd just fold it in half like this and sew down. But because I have binding, I can't do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this on top of this. I'm going to take my ruler here, put it in the middle
to keep it square.
So that way I can square this up, right? This edge lines up with this edge. Okay, but part of the reason I put my ruler in the middle there,
so she can pin through
because I can pin it. Guys, if I just stuck a pin in,
it would go through the bottom of the bag.
It would go through the bottom of the bag, and that doesn't work for me.
Okay. You might be looking at this and thinking, how's she going to sew that? Well, there's a fancy trick we have, and it's called unzip the zipper.
Right, open the zipper. Right, but I didn't want to do that while pinning because I want this
No, because we want it nice and square. Because
I want a square bag.
It would be really easy to get this bag kind of on a diagonal right here.
And because I'm going to trim off the ends of my zippers, the zipper needs to meet up. See, now I'm going to open that up. This is also where it's nice to have it extra long because now this is out of my way.
Yep.
And then I'm just going to do the same thing I did last time. If I can lift my needle up and get it out of the way.
I think we might need a 1 yard bundle.
Huh?
Oh, a 1 yard bundle of her stripes. We probably do.
Yeah, we should.
You guys, it's like a candy stripe fountain right there. It's so cute.
Liz will take a picture later.
This is so cute. But first we have to cut.
We need to cut Constance and birds. Pretty birds.
Pretty birds.
Pretty birds.
Okay. We have lots to do. We have...
Same thing. Turn around. And go back.
So. We've also recently hired some more help. So, yay. Hopefully we'll get things done faster.
Right.
It's the story of our lives these days. Just trying to...
There are worse things than business growing. We just have to grow along with it.
We'll try and keep up.
We're just trying to keep up with y'all. That's all. Okay. There we go.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
And look, if I zip it up, we have the, I would say beginnings, but it's well past the beginnings of a cute little pouch. Now, if you don't want to box corners, guess what you can do? Turn this wrong side out and sew up the sides, and you have a cute little flat pouch.
And you have a flat pouch, so it doesn't even have to be boxed.
So if you don't, if you're afraid of boxing corners, we're going to show you how to do that. But if you're afraid of that, you're in a pretty good spot to finish this bag a different way.
Right. And
that would require doing this, sewing the straight line all the way up and down.
I don't have my thread stand on it. That's why it's being stupid.
Anyway.
It's in my bag over there.
But,
okay.
We're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that.
Totally
So
doable.
Next step, I am going to zip it back up for a second because I want things where they go. I'm going to fold it like this. Okay. So my zipper is right here nice and flat because I want to find the center.
So we've got it square.
Or exactly the center of the bottom. Okay. And I'm going to just stick a pin in it.
Same on the other side.
Same thing. Stick a pin in it. And then we're going to go ahead and start with one end. Let's go ahead and start with this one. So what I'm going to do,
the end that doesn't have the zipper fold,
is I'm now going to line up my pin with the center of my zipper. And that's flat. I'm going to take my little zipper tab here. Look how nicely those went down the center.
I know. It's like you planned it.
I know, it's weird. Okay, I'm going to take my tab. I'm going to lay it in here, right on top of the zipper.
I want people to see that close up.
Okay. Sorry.
Sorry.
It's on a cord.
Extension cord.
Okay.
Okay. Hold on. Zooming in. There we go.
Okay.
So she's got it laid right
so
centered.
I've got my tab folded in half, and I'm just going to lay it centered right here on top of my zipper, okay? And then I'm going to lay this right on top of that. I know it's a lot, okay? And then I'm going to
just make sure it's all in place.
Just to hold it a bit. I'm going to pin a little bit on these edges. Now, I get asked this question about backstitching the corners. Well, guess what? We're going to cut those corners off.
So you don't really have to backstitch right here.
Don't worry about locking in these corners. Don't skip them.
Yes.
But no need to backstitch. Now, this part right here can be a 1/4 inch or a generous 1/4 inch. It doesn't really matter.
We're not going to lose any points at this point.
We're not going to lose points. So I am just going to go with this side of my walking foot. So now that I'm to this hump right
trying to
here,
get it back where it goes.
I'm going to sew nice and slow because I'm going over 12,000 layers of fabric and a zipper. And I'm going to backstitch.
That is not a bad place to backstitch, just to make sure it's nice and locked in.
It's going to get used a lot. I mean, right? Every time you open this bag, you're going to be pulling on these seams.
So it is a place to extra lock it up. Just a sec.
Sorry.
I got to let Stacy in.
You got to let our employee in. Just to be nice. That one's locked. So my daughter's here and is trying to let her in, but I locked the door. Oh, I thought I broke my seam. I didn't. Okay. Walking foot. There we go. All right. So that's... It looks like such a mess, right? This is really fun because I'm just going to do that. And it's all better. Okay. Now this time...
The pull has to go inside.
The pull has to go inside. I cut that off. I'm going to hate life.
Also, it would be a closed bag.
It would be right. So
you couldn't open without undoing stitches.
So put your zipper pull inside. I'm going to go ahead and line
It's going to be a little bit easier.
Up.
I mean, it's trickier to line up because it's open, but it's easier because you're already so boxed that there's not a whole lot of room for it to
Right, there's not really a lot of space for it to travel. So I'm still going to put this in here, and then I'm still going to pin on both sides here to kind of hold it in place.
Yeah. There we go. And she's going to go do the same stitch.
I'm going to go over it again.
1/4, and she's going to double back over the zipper.
Right.
Just to make sure it's nice and where it goes.
And you know, I'm pulling out my pins because I don't like sewing over pins, especially with all this stuff. I mean, you're
with
begging.
all the bulk and the zipper.
You're begging for damage. I mean, I feel like I do break needles making bags.
Okay.
If I am making a bunch of bags, which the one that's in here is the same as what I had for my QDQ class the other day, so it's nice. I have a 90-14 needle in.
Use a bigger needle.
So it's heavier, it's thicker, it's stronger.
It does not hurt to use a bigger needle for this than you use for
a standard one would work. You're going to struggle with the 70 a little bit.
I really like the 70 for piecing, but for a bag like this, going up in size is not.
All right, so now we have a rectangle.
Look, it's a pouch.
It's a pouch. It's a nice little pouch.
It could still be a cute little pencil pouch.
Right, it could totally be a cute pencil pouch. Okay, now what we're going to do is box the corners. Now, really quick, I want to talk about what that means.
She just shoves me out.
So, I'm going to push her out of the way. So I am going to have us use a 1-inch box on this. What that means is I'm going to take my ruler here and I'm going to draw a line right here where it's 1 inch. Make sure your line is coming from the seam, not the edge over here, because this seam allowance doesn't matter. This fold is the edge, so I'm drawing 1 inch from the seam and 1 inch from the fold. Now, if I did this one, see how it's nice and tall? It looks like a little camera case I used to have. I used a 1 1/4 inch box. So you can totally change the shape of what you're doing by changing your boxing corner size, okay? This one I used a 1 1/4 inch. However, I made the bag slightly bigger than this one.
Yeah.
And I'll have instructions for this one. Really, it's like an extra inch each way. That's
Yeah. Well, you'll notice this one on the base is bigger.
Right. That's not.
And so these strips and everything just end up being
right. And I had like
lighter,
an extra half
longer.
an inch on each of these side pieces. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. Let me grab a marker. And I don't like to just use a rotary blade and go for it here because it's really easy to get a little bit excited about that. And
use some scissors.
And go a little crazy. And I don't want you to have like your cut come all the way up in because that would be sad.
Then that's hard to fix. So if you've got like whatever fabric scissors you have at home, Jen's gonna use her Perfect scissors. They're fantastic for this.
If I do use a rotary cutter, I get close to the center,
yeah,
and then finish it with scissors.
The Perfect scissors are nice because they're little, but they are so
super sharp, and they're easy to use,
and they're really easy to pinpoint right into the corner and not go further.
They look like rectangles, and that's because the seam allowance over here doesn't count. If I cover that up,
then it's a square.
So this is the scary part of making these bags.
You've done all this work, and now you're going to cut it apart.
Now we're just going to cut holes into it. Well done. If you've made a apparel, you're used to this. But
if you're a quilter,
we don't usually slice holes out of stuff. Not once we've been sewing, you know.
Yeah. Not when they've got batting in the middle.
Right?
That goes.
Though I did when I made my tree skirt.
Well, that's different. We are going to do a tree skirt.
Yeah, we're going to do a tree skirt.
Jen and I are like setting up a whole plan for Christmas fabric.
We'll do Christmas stockings. July. We should do Christmas in July.
We were thinking we should do it later in the year, but since all the Christmas fabric is here,
right? We need to get people started. We'll do Christmas in July. All of our classes. All right, guys. The next part is easy. It seems scary, but it's easy. We're just gonna open it up. See?
Look at the box now.
It's a box. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this seam right here. I'm gonna stick my fingers in to make sure that my exterior fabric isn't like tucked way in underneath or something, since I just cut out my basting stitch.
But because we did the basting stitch, it should have been.
It shouldn't be going too far. So I'm gonna put a pin here.
Go show them that close up.
Yep. Well, I have 4 of them.
Okay.
4 of these to do.
You can do a couple,
and I'm gonna have my seam go this way. Basically, the zipper is going down. We don't want it up because that's gonna make that funny. Plus, it keeps the tab all popped up. It keeps the
tab popped up instead of popped down.
Right.
So in this case, we are going to say it matters what direction you press.
It does matter for this. You know, and a lot of times with bags, the way they have you put it together like that, it does matter. Now, because of what it does to the finished product.
So you can backstitch the edges.
You can backstitch these corners here because they do matter.
Because they're the inside corner of a bag.
Right. Why are you being so dumb?
Because you don't have your thread stamp.
I know.
Mine's in my case over there.
Mine's in my bag right there.
Oh well. Too late. We're almost done.
So we're just going to do that over and over and over again.
So
yeah, so 3 more times. Exactly. So I'm going to make sure my fingers get in here and pull that pink fabric out just to make sure it's not getting buried. Now it's really easy with these right here to have this edge be tight and this edge be tight and then have it bow out in the center. So just kind of use your fingers and tuck. These are little, so 2 pins will do it. I like to tell people this with bag classes, like go ahead and smash it. Just make it work. It'll rebound.
Yeah. Don't feel like you have to have it keeping it shaped a whole second because then it's hard to manipulate into the machine.
Right.
So.
And they do need to be manipulated in the machine. It's like this bag right here. It's a good size.
Yes, but
it got made on this.
You have to like smash.
So for that to happen, I did a bit of smushing to make it work.
Because you guys, we put on the top and then we turn it right side out and then you put binding in. Okay, you guys, and that doesn't happen without doing this. Right, and then the very last step is the handle. Yeah. So yeah, you've got the whole bag put together. Now you got to do the handle and you got to go to get it into your machine.
It only works if you make the sound effects.
It does only work if you make the sound effects.
You must say, wah.
I have little boys. Can you tell?
I have one, but he doesn't really do those kind of sound effects.
No?
Not as much. Though he has been singing Everything is Awesome nonstop for days.
Oh,
It's not so awesome.
fantastic. Not awesome.
He used his birthday money to get a video game, and that's the only song that is played on the video game.
Oh my gosh, I might die.
It's from Lego City.
If you're unfamiliar with the song Everything is Awesome, you don't have kids that force you to watch the Lego movie over and over and over again. But if you have,
He's in the back room.
he's in the
of
background.
shop
I just
singing
heard
it.
Everything is Awesome. Worse yet is this song on there that's like, is it the Lego movie 2?
Yeah.
This song's gonna get stuck inside your head. That's the
Yeah,
lyric.
my kids sing that all the time.
This song's gonna get stuck inside your. It's horrible.
It's terrible. It's terrible. My thread broke and I have one seam to go.
Okay, so while she fixes that, gonna bring this up close, you guys. See, the seam allowance is pressed down when she boxes those corners. This leaves the tab popping up, and Gideon is screaming, "Everything is awesome." He's awesome.
He's awesome.
Go tell your brother to be quiet.
He's my boy. No. Now they think they're funny and they're gonna run around.
Okay, we're losing it with the children.
We're losing it with the children.
Good thing we're almost done.
Right. I got
Yeah.
one seam.
Guys,
Now-
this is available for rewash once you get the pattern
Right.
and you're actually trying to make this thing. It will always be on the videos on our Facebook page, and then they all get uploaded.
I will be
to
uploading it to YouTube
our
probably
YouTube
this
channel
afternoon.
as well. It takes longer to get it on YouTube because it takes forever to upload an hour-long video.
Like seriously, guys, like 12, 14 hours.
To so it'll be on YouTube.
So
for
if it's
sure
not there right away,
tomorrow.
please don't write me a
But
message whining. about it. I'm trying.
Once we finish this, it'll be available for rewatch very shortly.
Now, if
It
I
takes a
had my
minute for
other
it.
machine with me, I'd do one more step, but I
And
don't, so I'm not gonna. Ideally, I would zigzag these edges so that they're a little more finished.
If you've just got a featherweight though, do another stitch close to the edge.
Right, and that helps. It does.
It'll do the same
It'll
thing.
do the job. I do have a machine at home where I can zigzag it, so I will. So now I just finish. I just
Turn it.
open it all the way. We're gonna turn it right side out.
So you guys, this is done with scraps from a project. You
Right,
could
these
buy
are
fabric for it.
All leftovers.
And scraps from binding and a zipper that costs $1.19.
Hey, Gideon!
Right.
Gideon, I think
That's fantastic.
Thank you. Sophie, go back, please. Sorry, the 4-year-old needed to tell me. And we have a bag in an hour. Not that it's not going to take you an hour. It's okay. Because I've made a zillion of these.
Yeah, it might take you. Oh well, and we didn't include cutting.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is the bag. Watch your email. There'll be a pattern heading your way. Well, the pattern won't head your way. The link to download the pattern will be heading your way. So it'll be a free pattern, but it's only going to be free for like a week. So
download it.
open your email. Okay?
Yeah, don't
Alright.
just open your email. Download it.
You got to download it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.